This
I
is
think
my
I've
peak.
finished life like already. Like,
Hello, welcome back to the bonus content with San Rossi. We talk a lot about gorillas in sports. Allow them, please. It will be just funny. But the bonus content, I want to talk about this. You're 21. Have you been to the psychologist, to therapy? Have you been in therapy as a white man?
oh, I tried it twice and both times. Like, this is stupid. Like, I hate this.
You hate therapy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, for some
White men
people,
will do anything.
for some people, it's great. Like, I think if you like it,
I-
but I was just like, I'm still scared of everything.
Okay, I do believe it's important to go to therapy to solve your problems, blah blah blah. blah. But I recently thought about this. I've been seeing like why a lot of couples break up, and usually it's because like, oh, you're a baggage to me, or I don't feel like they're super intelligent, like really like the answer is this went through therapy. It's not an answer that's like, oh, he made me feel bad. It's like, no, because I'm repeating the trauma that blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
Uh,
what if and you see a lot of breakups. And I was like, what if now we're too emotional intelligence and that's why relationship doesn't work. Because it's like, no, I'm repeating a pattern with you, so like let's break up before
yeah.
I feel we're getting to a point that we're just not gonna like be able to be with the other gender because, or even be in the same gender because
Yeah.
like you're so emotional intelligence that like you're disturbing my peace. So bye.
It's one of those things where I think, okay, well, I think it's why people like aren't getting married at like 20 anymore.
Yeah,
Or,
no.
like 20, like unless it's like, because you see like religious people sometimes like they'll get married younger, but like a lot of people are getting married like older.
Yeah.
Like around the time when
30
people used to
something.
be like having kids, like they're now getting like married.
Before at 26, like people were having kids and they had a
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Let's put it that air.
Hey.
Boomers.
Again. Get the chart. Get
Wait,
the
wait,
show, show 'em.
just,
Yeah.
dude, I believe we're gonna get to the point that maybe we're complaining now, like, oh my god, housing is impossible, 450K for a house. That maybe in 20 years, like, the kids will be like 3 millions for a house, like, for a one-room apartment. Like, what the fuck?
Well, like,
We're like, in my time, it was 450K.
yeah, I don't know. Well, it's just like I don't know. I think you used to be able to pay. No. You know what? I'm such a moron. I'm not even throwing my hand in this. I was about to talk out of my ass like another
You
bag
can
up.
do it.
But when stuff was cheaper, that was cool.
Let's breathe.
Nothing else besides that. Like, no, I like. I try not to think about that stuff, which is not a solution. But
Ignoring this.
it is how I do it. I gotta. I don't know. I just moved into my first like studio apartment that I can like afford because I got a job.
Nice.
And like that's cool. And also like I think that's also it. Like, I think, like,
This
I
is
think
my
I've
peak.
finished life like already. Like,
This is my peak. That's it.
so it used to be you could get a house. Now it's like no, it's just not doable anymore. Like
Like
I
you can
can.
rent a 2 bedroom. That's
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Because if I get like a bedroom, and then because I got a studio right now, if I get a bedroom, it's like
if
yeah,
you have
like-
balcony.
I don't have to play Monopoly. Anymore. Like, I live that.
but, but getting back to
Yeah.
because this topic is also amazing. Like the expectation of our generation went down so much. It's like I made it in life is if I have charcuterie board once a month. If that happens, I'm living in it. And then before it's like I want a car and a family and a house. We're like we want cheese maybe. If I can have a good cheese, I'll be.
Like car's gone. Like,
Your car is gone.
I also wonder how much of it is like has to do with like is because I know like well getting a house and like we live in Chicago like getting a house in the city like that seems insane.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
is.
seems impossible. But there are times where I think about like should I just move to like some like fucking middle of nowhere town, like we're like
to a farm.
a normal job, and it's just everything's way cheaper.
Yeah,
Like,
but the things like
is that not
I
even
thought
work
about
anymore?
it. I thought about it, but you lose stand up.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not
Yes.
much stand up going on in Battle Creek, Michigan. Like I don't know how much stand up is going up there. Maybe they have some
Exactly.
mics, but
Like you'd have to give up on that, but it's like if I was at a point, well, that is sometimes that makes me bummed out. Is just if I just didn't like doing this one thing, I could be rich, like by proxy.
Yeah, if I just
Yeah.
working at meal or something like that, I can be happy. But no,
It's like, I prefer like being in the middle of nowhere.
I
Like,
prefer
really
being in the
do.
middle of nowhere. But
Like,
the
I-
thing's like you don't have stand up, and I love it so much that it's like fuck. You know, it's like-
exactly.
because the place that I want to move because of stand up are crowded places like California,
Yeah.
New York, Austin, because
So
they have
you-
more people to do a stand up for. You don't want to like a stand up comedian is like, yeah, I'm fucking killing it. You know, I'm gonna move to Omaha. No.
No, that's the dream is to like get so good at stand up and so successful that you can just move to the middle of nowhere and then people call you out. So like
Yeah, no,
you
you
know,
have to go back.
because like if I fucking moved if I moved to like Evanston, like I lose it. Like let alone fucking
Yeah.
like
If I move to Chambord, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
My career goes to shit.
so if I move too far down the red line, it's over. No one's being like, oh, we need him for like. No one's gonna talk about fucking dating apps the wrong way. We need.
Yeah, we need San Rossi
we need
back.
it back. It'll just be like,
Just
all right.
protesting,
Yeah.
protesting Lakeview, like we want San Rossi. We
Once a month, an old head will be sitting with someone else and be like, "You remember that Rossi guy?" And they'll go, "No." No. All right.
yeah, me neither.
That'll be it.
Yeah. He was around us at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah, you gotta be like good enough that people is like remember you. You know what I love? I don't know. We did like deviated from the topic. We're gonna get back. The topic was therapy, and the people are too emotional intelligent. But
Oh yeah, I
but-
talk about.
but we're gonna go back. To that. We're gonna go back to that. But I don't know if it happened to you that people tell you, like, oh, I heard this joke about you, and now we mock or we say this in our house, or every time this happens, we remember you.
Yeah.
That feeling is amazing. Like I have that with my joke that is the acronyms, and I say that the first time I heard BRB, someone was like, "Hey man, BRB, be right back." I wasn't expecting letters coming out of nowhere. Right, I wasn't used to acronyms at this point in the United States, and I was like, I just heard like B, like the black and yellow insect, RBs, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening?
Bees are bees.
And the bees are bees, and the person left, and I was like, what the fuck? And then they explained me, oh, it's be right back. And I told that many times on stage, and I have a friend, Melvin Stewart, that he's like, they were recently
Yeah.
in their house, and the daughter was like, hey, BRB, and they're like, what do you mean bees are bees? Like bees are bees, what is happening? And that's super cool when your joke like transcends your time on stage.
Dude. Yeah.
Does it happen to you?
I also that is. I have a couple of jokes, but it is also with one about acronyms. that,
Okay,
Like is
okay, go.
which one? It's like the. What is it? The acronyms like how someone's a very good athlete. People call them the GOAT. It means
Okay.
greatest of all time. I think we should have more animal acronyms to describe people. Like, so I have three. It's like, guys, my girlfriend's the bass. Beautiful and so sweet.
Okay.
Just cute. There's a guys. This librarian is the mole. Makes organization look easy. There's a it was a hey guys, you want to get high and drive our cars around? Whoa, whoa, fellas, wombat. Would our mothers be allowing this? And that's one that comes back up a lot is wombat, and also the Monster Mash one. I have a joke about the Monster Mash, and like at the end of every show, like not every show, but like at the end of a show, if I use that joke, at least one person tells me an oddly specific story about the Monster Mash, like that it affects their lives. in
Yeah,
some way.
dude, I love when jokes do that. Like they transcend the stage.
Yeah.
I have a couple like that. I had the BRB, and I have one about the about immigration that I call it. It's called ice, but ice in Spanish mean like if you translate it, ice is hielo. You know, like ice is frozen water.
Yeah.
And I have the joke about the frozen water, and I have people being like now like now every time I hear about ice, I just think about the fucking frozen water. Like, well, that's how Latinos feel. But going back to the gym, I don't have. I should have a.
Damn.
Okay, that work.
Soundboard pays for itself.
Yeah, I have to use it. I'm legally blind to use it. No, going back to, I believe we are right now too emotionally intelligent to. I don't know what is gonna happen, but I believe people are like not fighting for relationships anymore because we're emotionally intelligent. It's like, oh, this is hurting me. This is hurting my persona, who I am. I'm not gonna change. Da, 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 da. And then like you don't fight for the relationship because it's like, oh no, these are red flags, and this person is dragging me down. And there's not a work of like try to remove the red flags. It's like no, if I see them, bye.
But is that okay? Here's my thing with that. Is like is that stuff emotionally intelligent, or is that just like having a like good reason to drop out? You know,
I believe
'Cause, like
a half and half because there's some good reasons to drop out. It's like he hit me. I was like, okay,
oh yeah, yeah. That's not what we're talking about.
that's a red
Yeah.
flag, maybe.
Hey. Don't do that.
You just spoken directly to someone you knew. You're like, Kevin, please stop. We have talked about this. This actually, this is not a real podcast. This is just an intervention for you. But we know this is the only way you will hear it.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I think emotional intelligence, like what you're supposed to do is like you're supposed to be like, okay, this is the problem we're having. Like it's a communication issue.
Okay.
Like the intelligence would be like, I'm gonna work on that issue. Like I'm gonna take a proactive because it's like if I'm being like an asshole to you, like
What you have been for the last 40 minutes.
right, hey,
Wombat.
no, but like if I be like an asshole to you, and then you're like, why are you being an asshole? And then I like if I come up with reasons, like does it now, like do I now is it like, oh, you should be allowed to be an asshole because like he's got
Okay,
these reasons,
okay.
or like that's what I'm saying, where it's like if you can point to what the problem is, like if the problem's like big enough you have to leave, then like yeah, but like
I agree.
also if it's like at the first because I mean, that's been a thing for like, wow, there have been tons of people who like aren't able to deal with that stuff, and they
Yeah,
don't.
no, I agree, but I believe what is happening is that before you see red flags, that red flags was not something but flaws in your partner, and it's like okay, let's try to work this out. And I believe through therapy, like you've been told, like if your partner have too many red flags, you should leave your partner instead of like maybe there's
Yeah.
red flags and they are, but you can work it out on take them out or turning them into green flags.
Are we talking about red flags, or are we talking about just like problems we bump into?
Are we talking about red flags literally?
Oh.
Because no,
Okay,
no,
if it's red
yeah,
flags.
yeah.
That's it's different then. I thought we were just talking about like, oh, I get in an argument with someone
no,
and
but-
then
but-
I leave.
Arguments also like I believe that there's people right now, not all of them, but a lot of people I've seen is they face a red flag or a problem and then decide that is like I'm taking care of myself by this is my boundary and that's it. Instead of like, okay, let's work this out. Maybe like for example, I have a problem with my mom.
Yeah.
She's a bit immediately. No. The problem is this: like she's super insistent, and I am patient the first 3 times, and then I like burst a little bit, and when I burst and I like raise my tone, she's like, "You treat me like she's like you asked me like once like I was like working on something, and she's like, "You want breakfast?" I was like, No, not right now." 2 minutes later, hey, you want breakfast? Like, mom, not right now. I'm just doing this. And 2 minutes later, like, hey, you want breakfast? And mom, I'm working on this. I will have it later. 2 minutes later, she was like, hey, your breakfast is getting cold. It's like, I told you no. And I was like, I told you no. And like, how are you blaming me that my breakfast is getting cold when I said I didn't want it? And she was like, you treat me like shit. I raised you for this. I was like, Mom, but I don't want to treat you like shit. I just raised my
Yeah.
voice because I told you no 3 times and you did whatever you wanted to do and then blame me because the breakfast was getting cold. I was like, this is on you. But she was like, you treat me like shit. It was like, wait. My, s- my son, I raised him to be a good man. And now he just yells at me. I cannot live this life anymore. So I'm gonna leave when he's recording a podcast and get just like crashed by a CTA bus. I'm like, Mom, no! I was like, Mom, you are
Can you do the
overreacting.
music like that for
Yeah.
one more second? It's like, hold on.
Wait, I'll put it again.
Hold on, I want to see if I can do it right. The man takes a piece of string. He ties it to an orange. He is Have you seen those videos?
No.
It's like, oh, dude, it's like they'll play music like that, and then they'll take like a movie, right?
Okay.
And then they'll just like, so it's amazing because it's like less than a subtext. Like they're removing subtext. It's like you'll just be like watching a video, but like then a guy's like explaining like not the context of the situation, but like just what he is doing. Like, it'll just be a guy being like, it's like a super loud AI, like it's just super loud AI voice being like, Christian touches the dials. He hopes they work out well. And just like,
This is AI voices.
yeah.
It's terrible. But in that case, if we were a couple, me and my mom, she will be like, he treat me like shit in therapy. Like she treat me like shit. I just make him breakfast and he yell at me. And me on my side on therapy will be like she doesn't listen to me and I tell him that. And if we were a couple, that would be illegal. But if we were if we were a couple, like I believe we will break up because it will be like my therapist will be like, hey, you have to put boundaries. If they are not listening to you, that's disrespecting you, and you cannot be with someone that disrespects you. And on their side, like if he's raising your voice when you are doing something good for him, that's just what he is. He's not gonna ever change that. So you deserve someone to treat you better, and we will break up instead of being like, oh, we have this problem because we have maybe a miscommunication issue.
Yeah.
You're like, this is too much to me. I came here to talk about gorillas.
No,
Like, what
'cause,
the
like,
fuck is
okay,
that?
Like, I want to say this without being like, because I don't want to come off as one of those dudes that's like, therapy's stupid. You shouldn't do it.
You can
But,
be
like,
therapy stupid,
but,
but
like,
being therapy stupid is okay because it will be like, this is coming from ignorance, but this is
Yeah.
what I think.
But like, therapy is stupid and you shouldn't do it. Like, that's what. No.
yeah,
No, but, like, okay. But it's stuff like that where it's like, honestly, my thing with therapy for situations like that is like, I have lots of friends who do therapy. I have lots of friends who like talk about how good it is. I've never had a friend be like, I told my therapist about this thing, and then my therapist is like, you're a psycho, and that was your fault.
exactly.
If that was happening more, I get it. Because if you bring that situation with therapists, what a therapist should do is be like, who fucking cares? Like, what? Like, what
You
are
are a
talking- Like,
bitch.
there's no other level to this. Like,
Your
you're
ther-
both.
Your
Just eat,
therapist
just
is just
eat the breakfast or don't make the breakfast. Like, no, this is fine.
your
Like,
therapist like,
Damn.
yeah, exactly. It's like the fact that you held on to this so long to bring it to another person is like.
that you're paying to.
I don't know. I think it's like I think if you need to fucking go to for situations like that, for a situation where it's like we're talking about earlier, like people are like hitting each other, or like there is someone being a like emotionally manipulate and like not letting like be like they're saying like, oh, don't go see your friends, like if you're with me, I don't like when you see your friends, like
Okay.
stuff like that. It's like you got to get out of there, like that's
Yes,
like,
I agree.
but with issues like that, like you should be able to resolve it between the two of you, and if you can't, like, but also I don't know.
It is
I don't know.
it is difficult to range. You see.
Like it's a I don't know enough about this to have like exact answer. I just know I would never go to a therapist about like that situation.
Okay, we're gonna end the episode with this because I believe he brought out a good point. I believe there's some people that's like, oh, this didn't be therapist didn't vibe with me, so I go to another therapist. And sometimes the therapist that you didn't vibe with is a therapist that is like, hey, I want to shoot my mom, and the therapist like that, no.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
he's abusive. Don't we know? Instead of like,
Yeah,
being-
that guy doesn't always do.
yeah, like no, I gotta go to another therapist until they found one that is like, well, what is the reason? Maybe you should shoot your mom. It's like this is the one. Like no, that some you should be with someone that not contradicts, but actually can have a different point of view than you, instead of people that are like yes man. If you surround yourself with yes man and people that always agree with you, you're never gonna grow as a person.
You should see a therapist
Thank you.
when you are not you.
Thought.
And you should see a therapist when you're sad and you don't know why. Like stuff like
Agreed.
that. If you want your life to improve in a way that like and you can't like you're having trouble with your like because I don't want to come off as like don't do therapy. Therapy is a good tool.
Yeah.
I do think the problem is that everyone is using it now. It's the same way with like I don't know, it's like fucking opioids. Like if you're injured, opioids are awesome. Like
Yeah.
if you're in terrible pain, they're great. If you're like, I don't want to go to work today, you shouldn't be taking them. Like, it's
No,
like that's the thing. It's like I do think it's being used way too much to solve like problems where it's like, I think this is the thing. If you just slept it off, you'd forget about this. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like, me and my girlfriend we get into arguments sometimes, but then like the next day, we're like,
then I
hey,
hit
I'm
her.
sorry.
And that's it. Then everything is fine.
Yeah, here's all the therapy. Physical
This is a
therapy.
panic photo.
Fuck.
Because, yeah, I do therapy with my
I
girlfriend.
didn't think I'd set it off.
It's called physical therapy. Actually, that would be a good joke.
I do.
That would be a good joke that is like, no, guys, I didn't do that. I shot her. I don't use
No.
these babies.
No, I do think it's like a thing of like if you're like if I was your therapist and you came to me with that situation about you and your mom, I would be like you guys shouldn't be together. But the reason I'm saying that is because it's like because you guys need me to step in this. Like, this is
And I believe we need more therapists like that.
yeah
Like, they're
yeah.
like, you don't need me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they,
I like your money, but you don't need me.
yeah, they will never do that.
Yeah, because they need money.
Yeah.
And they're like, I need to pay this studio apartment in Evanston. Like, I need you to.
If I was a therapist, I would never tell you you're fine.
Yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
never once. But also, there's some people who do need it, so I don't want to be like fucking don't.
So find a therapist that can conflict your ideas, that can actually
Yeah.
you can grow as a person.
You should have.
If you're not sad, don't go to a therapist, because I do agree with that.
You should invite a smarter person on to talk about this.
You're super smart.
And then they'll watch
What are you
me,
saying?
and then they'll watch me and be like, okay, here's where he's wrong, and that's all of
They
it.
put the graphics. They're like, okay, this moment is when he fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, this is an amazing point of content. But we're gonna end it. Thank you so much for watching. And Kevin, stop hitting your wife, please. This actually was this is just a glimpse. This actually was an intervention.
Knock it off.
Knock it off. But adios.
Adios.